Hi everybody. So I wanted to film a video about what to do when accepting a placement. So when you first get licensed for foster care, at least in the Phoenix area, um, we started getting calls before we were even licensed fully from our agency because they knew our license was going to come through soon. And so we got a call for a little girl who was 4 years old, and she had been in care, and the placement that she was at was currently being hospitalized because the little girl had started a fire in her home. And our licensing agency was called and was like, hey, there's this little girl, she's 4 years old, she needs a placement. And she explained the whole situation to us as far as what had happened. And we said no. Fire is one of those things that, because we have so many animals, we have 5 animals. So trying to get 5 animals out of this house with a fire would just be awful. And so knowing that a child had a propensity to start fires was just not an option for us. So the next day we got a call, and basically we were told, this little girl she's in a home right now, and they're looking at putting her in what's called a therapy home. So it's a home that is specifically designed for children who have very severe behaviors, and it's to get them to the point that they can function normally in a regular household environment. But they needed a placement until they could get this little girl into a therapy home. And so she was only going to be with us for 30 days. And I think we knew she was 6. That was the only thing we knew. And so my husband and I were like, well, it's only going to be 30 days, so we'll probably be able to do that. It'll be fine. This was our first placement that we still have today, by the way. She was coming from another family, and she was just having a really hard time dealing kind of with her situation, and she'd been in care at this point for like 3 months, so she was just having a hard time, and she was having some pretty big behaviors. And so she gets to our house, and yeah, she was super cute. Well, I found out, so I actually got the luxury of calling the family and talking to the family that had her before she came to the house. So I knew her name, her gender, her ethnicity. Well, I found out after we'd already said we would take her that she was a native child. So we didn't know that, but I figured, well, we're only going to have her for 30 days anyway. And the reason that I didn't want native placements is because it is so hard to adopt. And John and I are, and we still are to this day, big fans of the kid needs to go home. We want the child to be able to go home. That's the ultimate goal. But if the child can't go home, then we would want to adopt, because we don't want that child to experience loss again. That's just wrong in our mind. And we knew that would be, the system makes it very difficult for that to be the case with native children. So, but yeah, so we thought, oh, we'll only have her for 30 days, so it's not really going to be that big of a deal. But I got to talk to, like I said, the foster mom at the other house, so I got to know kind of what she was coming with and what her allergies are and that kind of thing. Well, the day after we had told our agency we would take this placement, they hadn't updated the emergency placement list. And so we got a call from them asking if we still had 2 beds available to take an emergency placement. And at this point I said no. But I mean, literally, our license came through, and every single day we were getting a call for a placement. And so when they call for the emergency placement, they don't tell you, they just tell you what they know, because these kids have basically just come into care. So things that you can ask when you're thinking about getting a placement, you can ask what's known. So you can ask age, gender, race, if they're native or not, because then ICWA applies. If there are any siblings, do they know any behaviors that the child may have? And like I said earlier, you can say no. You're going to feel a lot of pressure, I feel like, because if you're getting into this, you're wanting to help these kids. And like with us in the fire starter, like after I got off the phone with our licensing worker, like I started crying because I wanted to say yes, but I just knew that was something we couldn't handle. So just be prepared for that. Other places that you can get a child, so you can get a child from an emergency placement, you can get a child from a group home. So in those situations, there's not a family setting available for the child, and so the child has gone into basically it's like an orphanage, but for older children, and they kind of just hang out there. And sometimes, so I think Arizona just started doing mixed gender group homes so that siblings can stay together. But that's only recently in from my understanding. Before this, the children would be separated. So if you had a brother and a sister, they would be separated if there wasn't a family placement available for them because of their gender. And so those are the kinds of things that like John and I wanted to kind of help with, was getting siblings together. So, what else can you get? Like I already discussed, you can get them from another family. If they are coming from another family, like I said, it's great because you get a call. You can talk to somebody who's had them potentially for a while and kind of find out more about their story or what you're getting, basically what you're taking into your home. Once they come into your house, if you're taking them off the emergency placement list, some of these kids are going to come in with like severe neglect. So they're going to not be very clean. Their stuff may not be very clean. If they have anything, they may not have anything. So when you first get them, what I've been told, and even what I did, even though she was coming from another placement, you want to strategically check them for like lice and like any other critters that may have come with them. Bed bugs is another one that may have come if they have stuff. And also you want to check for any physical damage. So any bruises, any scratches, anything like that, you want to look for it. If they're young enough that it is appropriate for you to give the child a bath, that's when you can look for that kind of stuff. If they are older and it's not appropriate, you can kind of like, I would hesitate to ask because they're already like in a weird situation. But if it's like summertime and you can put them in like summer appropriate pajamas, so like shorts and a t-shirt or whatever, you can kind of see, but you just want to document that because you don't want there to be any questions when later on, like if they have a visit, if the biological parent tries to say that occurred while they were in care, because then that's on you. So then you want to have them either bath or shower when they get there. And all this needs to be like done kind of, if they're younger, it's not going to be so obvious. Like if they're younger, it's not going to be this weird thing where it's like, oh, you're the new kid, it's time to clean yourself up and shower and all that stuff. If they're older, it may be a little more difficult. So you just kind of have to approach it cautiously. And then you want to take all of their stuff and wash it. If they came with anything, stuffed animals, anything like that, you want to run through the washer. All their clothes that they came with, if they came with any, you'll want to wash those. And then kind of to make them feel like they have a little bit more sense of control, give them lots of choices. Like if you have their bed that you're going to put out, get like before you take a placement, get multiple sets of sheets and blankets. So when they show up, you can go, okay, you have like these 3 options of sheets. Which ones do you want? And then with ours, I had like, do you want black hangers or white hangers? Do you want your underwear in this basket? Because our girls have a closet. I don't have a dresser. They share a big closet. And so I have baskets, and that's where like their underwear and their socks and stuff are. And so I let her pick like what she wanted where, and I just overloaded her with choices. She had so many choices when she came into the house. We had stuffed animals. I was like, okay, which stuffed animal do you want? Which towel do you want to use to shower? What kind of snack would you like? Do you want like peanuts, or do you want berries? Or just those kinds of things, that'll go a long way to kind of making them feel like they have some amount of control in a situation where they really don't have any control. And that matters if they're verbal. As soon as you, like, anything that you can communicate to them for a choice is great. Because that's really going to go a long way in helping them feel like they have more control over a situation that is really scary for them. Pets are another thing. If they like animals, like we have 2 cats and 3 dogs. So with ours, our beagle is such a sweetheart. And so that was one of the things was that we kind of brought Fiona out and let her see Fiona and kind of pet Fiona and play with Fiona and just kind of give her some love to make her feel, a little bit more comfortable. They may not like animals. If they don't like animals, then don't force it on them. So yeah, just some stuff like that. I do have a link. There's a little circle icon that has like my picture on there for you guys to click if you want to subscribe and get notified. If you want to get notified, you have to like click the bell or whatever so that you'll get notified of uploads. But if you want to subscribe, really help me out. And then there's also like another couple of videos that you can watch if this is your first time seeing it. If you guys have any questions, just let me know.